and welcome to all you Pisceans. Here is your monthly horoscope for May 2016. May is not that different from April. So a lot of what I've said in April is applicable for May 2016. But two things, I think May is a bit more positive in that respect that Mercury goes direct, Jupiter goes direct, so it's a little bit more, especially you Pisceans, Jupiter is your ruler, and with Jupiter going direct as from the around the 10th of the month, you feel as things go a bit more forward, especially when it comes to relationships, because Jupiter is in the house of relationships, relating to other people one-to-one. So that's good. The thing is that Jupiter goes direct, Mercury, the planet of communication, goes direct. So, and certainly for you, this is all lighting up your air houses. So the 3rd house, the 7th house, and the 11th house, they form a beautiful Earth trine. So actually, what does it mean? We all have that Earth trine falling somewhere in our chart, and it continues from last month. But even now it's becoming more interesting, especially when Mercury goes direct around the I can't remember these. Why can I not remember these? The 23rd, around the 23rd of the month, Mercury goes direct. Am I right? I'm right. So I think on the day that I'm recording this, Mercury is stationary, or not stationary. It is going into its shadow period. So, but anyways, I'm going on a sideway here. What I want to say is, when Mercury goes direct, the planet of communication, Jupiter goes direct, the planet of your faith, of your belief, of hope. They all go forward. It's positive. It's simply positive. And for you, this the Mercury and the Jupiter make a beautiful trine, and they make also a beautiful trine to Pluto, all in Earth signs. Earth and water goes well, and so you benefit from this. And as I said, it's all in your air houses, which is social houses. So on a social, the month May in general for the Piscean looks quite sociable and quite tangible as well. So you know where you're standing when it comes to your relationships, and they are empowering because of Pluto there in your 11th house. So people who are like-minded or friends. Jupiter there in your 7th house, which is your close relationship or business relationships or clients. So maybe if you work with clients, getting more clients is certainly possible there. And you've got the Mercury in the 3rd house of thinking and communicating. So the communication will be way clearer after Mercury goes direct again, and will be very solid. So solid communication, but very light at the same time. And so that's the most positive thing for May on a communicative level. What else? There is this square going on throughout the whole month between Jupiter and Saturn. Now, Jupiter and Saturn, so Jupiter in your 7th house of connecting one-to-one, and Saturn in your 10th house, the highest point of your horoscope, who has to do with work, social status, your connection towards authorities. That's the 10th house. And there is a clash there. Saturn squares up to Jupiter. Now, what does it mean? It means that whenever I see Jupiter and Saturn in an aspect, and here in a challenging aspect, it means there is growth, but slowly. So slow growth is actually the best advice. And it's good to grow. It's a moment to grow, especially when it comes to relationships, especially when it comes to work, but it is also good to be realistic and not grow too fast. That's basically it. The responsibilities lie a lot for you Pisceans with work and with, so for one it will be career, for someone else it will be a connection with a boss or with an authority. There is a lot of, there is some stress going on there with Saturn there, with Mars going retrograde. So things probably don't go as you want them to go, but it's like with the slow steps that you're doing, you're actually growing the fastest. That's basically it. And you're getting support from other people. So with the Jupiter in your seventh house, it can also mean that you just started a relationship, for instance, but work is holding you back because you cannot be with the person too much because you've got such a heavy work responsibility, for instance, and that clashes a little bit. But the thing is, when the two are meeting up in a square, they need to balance themselves out. So it's like time sharing here, a bit of this and a bit of that. You need a bit of both. So so that's that. But I think you work this out, especially with this. Whenever we have a difficult aspect going on, like the Jupiter and the Saturn, we look, is there something else going on with the Jupiter or the Saturn that is positive? And the answer is yes. This Jupiter, although, which is, the Jupiter is you, is going through, that growth is not going as fast as you want. At the same time, this Jupiter trines all other planets, and that's good. That means, okay, this tension can be resolved through going to a friend, for instance, or talking to a friend, or communicating about it in your environment, Mercury in the third house, or thinking about it, or whatever. So doing airy things, talking, communicating. And last but not least, there is a full moon I want to talk about. Normally I don't talk about just full moon, especially when I'm not in your sign, but it is in that, it is like a traffic jam coming together with the full moon in a Sagittarius joining. So the moon will be joining the Mars and the Saturn. They're all in your 10th house, and this is significant because it's a key area of your life. And the new moon happens, the full moon happens on the 21st. So it's happening just before Mercury goes direct. So there's like a tiny little bit, or hopefully a lot, of enlightenment, or seeing things a bit clearer. Things come to the surface with this full moon. And it has to do with your work-home environment. Home versus work environment. And the moon is joining Mars, and during the full moon, it's quite an emotional full moon. Why? Because Mars is there. Mars is conjunct with the moon, so that means strong desires. There is some strong. So actually, the best thing is to do things that are fed emotionally, you could say. But with the Saturn, there are very much mature as well, and that have a link with your home. The Sun will be in Gemini, and during that full moon, it will be conjunct Vesta, and Vesta is dedication. So there is like dedication and focus. So it's like a real. It's only. I think it's very common to a mutable sign like Pisces to be able to be so multifaceted, and this is a multifaceted month, especially the later 2 weeks of the month, because having this energy in Gemini and in Sagittarius, and you being a Piscean, it's like you're going to be a bit all over the place, I suppose, I think, but that's the whole thing. It's in having that dedication and focus on your home environment with the Sun there and with Vesta there. So maybe you might be doing things a bit more that consider the home and that you feel very dedicated towards, but you are trying to balance that with your work, for instance, or yes, that's the work-life balance. The classical work-life balance. So it could be a bit like that as well. But the trick is just to do both. You cannot do just being at home and being cozy. Maybe, for instance, just focusing on your home. No, you need to be out there in the world as well. And on the other hand, you cannot just be totally out of the world out into the world out there, you also need to have that commitment towards your home, which is the Vesta, the asteroid, so close on the sun and the moon during that full moon. Having said that, this is it's not a very special month, I think, in general during the month of May, but hey, take advantage of that beautiful Earth trine that is going on at the moment, especially for your relationships. Enjoy them, and count your blessings. Very good as well. Thank you for listening. See you next time.